This is the Bahamas Tonight, Northern Edition.
You're watching the Bahamas Tonight, the Northern Edition. Good evening all, I'm Shashina Wolf-Arkeson. As always, it is so great to have you with us. Topping news this evening, the Department of Inland Revenue hosting a meeting with members of Grand Bahamas Business Committee at the C.A. Smith Complex. The meeting comes after the president of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce called for better communication with that government agency. Well, today, business leaders and ordinary residents had an opportunity to hear about some of the benefits being offered by the government to assist with recovery efforts. Now, they were also able to voice their concerns. Italia Hall was there.
A number of tax concessions were put in place by the government for persons affected by Hurricane Dorian in Grand Bahama, Abaco, and the surrounding Keys. A new exigency order took effect on December 1st and is set to expire on December 31st. That order will allow residents to import items duty and VAT-free. Acting Controller at the Department of Inland Revenue, Gaynell Roll, says it is a simple process.
There's just one form. It's called the Tax Consolidated Release Forms that we're asking persons to fill. Once you would have completed that form, it's going to approve for you within a 24-48 hour period. You're going to present that on importation. Once you present that on importation, you're going to be able to walk rather efficiently and quickly with your approved items out of customs.
Now, this is the holiday season, and Roll says they do expect a lot of residents to travel.
So to facilitate a process that is already hectic, we're going to have at the border customs as always, and we're going to have individuals from the Department of Inland Revenue that is going to assist. But we want to encourage persons to ensure a more speedy and a seamless process, that they can get those pre-approvals of those tax consolidated forms before traveling. We are going to encourage persons that at least 2 days prior to traveling, you're going to submit those applications to us. You can get the applications from the Department of Inland Revenue. You can get them from the Customs Department.
She adds that purchases made within the recovery zones, Grand Bahama, Abaco, and the surrounding Keys are VAT-free. Roll says she understands that some items have not been readily available and persons have had to purchase items in New Providence. She says once the merchant is participating in the program, those items will be VAT-free as well.
The only thing is that those items must be shipped into the zone, into the affected zone. So there's no cash and carry at local merchants outside of the zone. So you're going to pay and they're going to ship those items within the zone.
Now, during the meeting, some members from the business community were concerned about items that they offer to the public that are not on the list of VAT and duty-free.
Within the Ministry of Finance, there is a revenue unit. That unit is spearheaded by Mr. Talman Bryce. And I encourage anyone that has questions about whether this item is going to be allowed to be VAT and duty-free to reach out to Mr. Talman Bryce and Talman Bryce at bahamas.gov.bs, and he's going to ask his staff to facilitate.
And when the exigency order ends on the 31st,
Exigency order is going to fall away under SIRS order. That's the Special Economic Recovery Zone order that is going to extend for the duration of the fiscal period, which is going to be June 2020. It's going to fall in place. And once that fall in place, the Special Economic Recovery Zone, that is going to be pretty much managed by the new Ministry of Disaster. And so the Ministry of Finance will continue to assist in that stead, but that special order is going to speak more specifically to the recovery efforts.
For more information, you can visit the Department of Inland Revenue's office in the Region Center or inlandrevenue.finance.gov.bs. It's Halia Hall, ZNS Network News.
Thank you, Talia. Well, last week, the president of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Gregory LaRota, called for improved communications between the department and the business community in order for the island to move forward. He says he believes today's meeting was a step in the right direction.
I feel like it probably would have been better if we had it earlier. But, you know, anytime you introduce a new program, like the extengencies and then one expiring, the other one coming into place, there's usually questions around the transition. And so we've had that here as it relates to the extengency orders and as it relates to the VAT-free zone that was created in Grand Bahama. And so businesses and consumers had a lot of questions and concerns around those two issues.
Now, LaRota says he hopes members of the business community are now better informed as a result of this meeting.
We're trying to recover now from a major hurricane, and so we need as much clarity as possible in terms of any incentives or tax breaks that the government put out. And so I hope that in the future, the information would be upfront as opposed to what's happening now. But of course, it's better late than never.
Meantime, the Small Business Development Center working to assist small and medium-sized businesses in Grand Bahama with rebuilding resilient businesses post-Hurricane Dorian. The center has partnered with the Office of the Prime Minister to introduce grants for those businesses to receive funding, which they hope will assist with the rebuilding efforts. Jamila Mizik has more.
The Small Business Development Center, partnering with the Office of the Prime Minister in assisting their clients to access funding through their program. Post-Hurricane Dorian, on the government's agenda has been the rebuilding of small businesses through technology. But Executive Director of the Small Business Development Center, Davinia Grant, admits there are some challenges.
We're excited about the $10 million that the government has set aside specifically to help hurricane recovery here in Grand Bahama and in Abaco. In order to efficiently assist clients with accessing that, part of the challenges relate to financial records. Financial records is huge, and the way that they're using that to be able to access credit is what we're seeing. We're seeing that with the absence of financial records, it's harder to get larger amounts of credit. So persons are coming in and we're having to do a lot of education and awareness with respect to making sure you actually have financial management software, have POS, have all sorts of data tools to be able to operate, manage your business.
She says once business owners are using electronic tools to run their business, they should be concerned with how their data is stored so that if or when a hurricane comes again, the company will be resilient.
Because you're actually maintaining the data, you're using it to make good decisions, but also resilient because you're storing it in a location where, despite what's happening with the weather, you're able to survive going forward.
And here's how Grant says persons can apply for funding through their program.
So to access the grant, you need to go to our website, accessaccelerated.org, and apply. You're going to see a laundry list of things that you have to provide. Don't let it scare you away. Just work through it with one of our team members here, step by step. And at the end of the day, you may only be looking for a grant, but you may be eligible for other forms of funding too, especially if you need it. So we want to work with you hand in hand to go through the application and help you emerge on the other side with funding for rebuilding. So funding goes up to $500,000. There are $5,000 grants, there are $20,000 grants. There's a $15,000 microloan program, as well as the larger guarantee program that goes up to $500,000.
Jamila Mizik, ZNS Network News.
In other news, the Grand Bahama Port Authority partnering with a leading global humanitarian organization to bring some financial relief to the business community on Grand Bahama. Executives announcing this morning that some 100 micro, small and medium-sized businesses will receive that financial grant. Megan Shepard has more.
While some businesses on Grand Bahama are making significant progress in their rebuilding efforts post-Hurricane Dorian, many are still struggling to reopen their doors or operate at full capacity. With this in mind, the Grand Bahama Port Authority has partnered with Mercy Corps to launch the Restoring Industries and Sustaining Employment RISE grant. Director of the GBPA, Henry St. George, says that this partnership was formalized through a memorandum of understanding, and he believes it will provide much-needed capital to awardees.
70% of our licensees were either uninsured or underinsured. 55% of those licensees suffered severe damage due to the flooding, and 60% of those businesses that have been able to reopen continue to struggle with the acquisition of new inventory to be able to fund the repair of damaged machinery and more broadly to operate in this testing environment. As of today, micro, small, and medium businesses will have access to much needed funding as they prepare for the upcoming holiday season. In the first phase of our grant program, we will be focusing on offering grants to 100 local businesses that have suffered losses as a result of Hurricane Dorian. The grants being offered will be up to $10,000.
Country Director at Mercy Corps, Pete Sweetnam, adding that they are delighted to continue supporting and standing with the Grand Bahama community. He notes that they have economic recovery programs and that businesses on Grand Bahama will have access to some 25,000 business mentors from across the world.
We seek to build economies, to help small businesses get back on their feet, to provide that vital bottom of the economy, which is the bedrock of moving the whole program forward, sustaining your economy and providing resilience into the economy. The Micro Mentor program is a global program as well. It works in Puerto Rico, it works in the US Virgin Islands, and it even worked on the continental United States, where Capital One are assisting us with taking it right across the US.
Senior Manager of Business Development at the GBPA, Tarek Newbold, adding that the RISE grant will target various sectors, including tourism and related businesses, professional services, food and beverage, trade and technical services, and farming, fishing, and related businesses. Interested persons can apply in person or online at risegbpa.com.
Applicant must be an existing business, in business for a minimum of 1 year. The applicant would have received no or limited support from organizations or government entities to date, and on that front, we'll be collaborating with the SBDC. They should have insufficient or no insurance. Applicant must be a micro, small, or medium-sized business generating an annual gross income of less than $150,000 and have no more than 20 employees.
Newbold adds that a select committee will review all applicants. President of the Grand Bahama Chamber of Commerce, Greg LaRota, will be a part of that committee and says that he is pleased that the concerns of the business community are being heard.
Initiatives like this would go a long way in helping those small businesses in their recovery effort to get back up and running and being able to sustain employment on the island. And so we're extremely excited to be a part of this.
Now, officials say they are seeking additional funding to assist more businesses going forward. Megan Shepard, ZNS Network News.
Switching gears now, fourth Vice President of the National Congress of Trade Union, Quentin LaRota, offering himself for re-election in the upcoming elections to be held this Wednesday, December 4th. LaRota said that over his 3-year term, he believes that he was able to make a positive difference in the labor movement.
To serve, because it's at a national level, and you on the Congress, that's at the umbrella unions that all of the other unions in the N.C.T.U be fit under, and so it gives you the opportunity to expand your role as a unionist, to assist and to help more people, and to make a greater contribution to the labor movement. I would say we've had a very successful 3 years here in the North under my leadership. First thing we sought to do was tighten our relationship with the TUC, the other umbrella unions. We used to just combine with them to march on Labor Day. We sought to do more than that, and we created a Labor Week.
Well, LaRota says that as a unionist, he is very passionate and wants to create a more fair and just society for the working class. He also adds that the union has also been looking to assist those that are not unionized.
What we're trying to do is get everybody sensitive to the rights of workers, because the majority of people are workers. And so that workers be treated with a certain level of respect and dignity, even the small businesses, where sometimes in small businesses, workers are not treated well because they're not unionized and they're easily terminated. And so I myself have taken on several cases to the tribunal. I've won 2. the first two that went to trial, I've won them, which was good experience for me as a labor unionist. And so now the Congress, the BUT, have an officer that can take a case from conciliation straight to the industrial tribunal. We didn't have that before.
So that's there's more news on the other side of the break.